Alright, so you already knew how to bring in your planes. So that's what we did already. And I will show you how I would do this, probably with a cube instead of a plane, because planes you're going to have to worry about the actual 3D aspect of it, whereas a cube is already in 3D. So I'm just going to bring in this box, and then go to side view and change that perspective to orthographic so that we lose any perspective distortion. All you've got to do is, the main thing that we're going to want to do to this thing is immediately turn it to an editable poly, and then go through here, Alt X for X-ray mode, then you can turn it off again with Alt X again. And I selected all those guys so that I can connect them right down the middle, and then go into vertice mode, Alt X again, and it's just going to be a lot of Alt Xing to go into X-ray. Delete those vertices, and now there's a hole in here, P for perspective, and I can show you. So there's a hole in this box. Cool. We're going to add the symmetry modifier and set it to Z, maybe? Y? Yeah, it's a Y. And then you got to turn on flip. And there we go. We have our object. If we go into editable poly, it'll look wrong. Just hit this beaker and it'll show you what it'll look like when every single one of these modifiers is applied. And then now we can see the symmetry modifier working in real time. So now that that's set up, we're going to go back to that view where we just were, orthographic, perfect side view. And we are just going to Alt X to go invisible and just move stuff. So I'm going to follow along with this yellow part here. I'm not really going to pay attention to where the glass is, because that's it's kind of like a curve outward in 3D going towards the front of the vehicle, is why it looks like it's poking out farther this way than over here. But the actual edge of the vehicle is right here, and then that's just curvature. So I'm just going to meet that yellow. Oop, it brought that out of the view. So yeah, just meeting that yellow there, and doing that with all these guys. Come on, please. Just something like this. And that's pretty much the same kind of an idea, is that this is just going to be curved around. And let's just meet the top here. There we go. Now I also stopped it around here, because this is about where the front of the vehicle will curve around itself as well. And there we go. Now already this is in the shape of that front vehicle, but we're going to have to leave edit mode, hide this plane, then go to front view so that we can match it up here. Awesome, that's pretty much right. Let's make sure we're in orthographic. We are. Cool. And then that's pretty much it for that. Let's go into edge mode. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to go back into edit mode, so editable poly. Grab that face down there. I want that one. And because this face is the same as this one, there's symmetry, I only really grab that one, just like I only grab this one, and it'll auto grab that one, so just grab that face. And then if you hold shift and drag it down, it should, oh, never mind, my bad, doesn't do it. So instead you gotta grab the extrude and extrude it outwards. Just gonna make sure it didn't create any random faces anywhere. I think there might be a face on the inside of that cube that we don't want. Let's see if that's the case. It is. Awesome. So delete that, and now there's no face in the middle, and go back, and now it's proper. Now this one, we're just going to do the same kind of a thing. We're going to line it up. Let's see. So maybe it'll be better to do it at the top of the wheel there. And we can also grab this face here with 4, grab that face, and then another extrude outward. Awesome. Now, looks like we need a cut here, so I'm just going to grab all the faces here, or the edges here, connect, and I hit the button next to connect, so it gives me all these options, and slide it around until we need that cut. We can do the same thing for the other side here. Connect, move it. Awesome. Now go to 4 for faces again. Grab, oops, that, and then control grab that one. It looks like, is there a face in there that I don't want? I think there's a face in the, yeah, so there's a face way in the middle of this. Hit delete to get rid of that. Alright, we need this face and this face. So we've got the bottom ones. And then extrude. Alright, Control Z, hit extrude here instead. Come on. The button next to extrude will let you change it like that. There we go. Yeah, oh, I just keep turning it off. And apply. And now we can grab the faces, or the edges. Oh, the vertices, geez. Alright, just keep moving them slightly as they need to go. And we have something that looks pretty much right. And keep in mind there will be faces on the inside that look wrong. If it's hard to see them in X-ray mode, you can just leave X-ray mode. Turn off that so it doesn't show the symmetry, and then you can see how the faces came out when we extruded, and we don't want those faces there. So just select them, hit the delete button, and that'll get rid of those, and then you can go back to this and they'll be gone. Let's see, we want that face now. Just gonna hit the button next to extrude. Pull that down to there. Alright. This guy doesn't have to stay there. He can come out like that. And then I might just grab this face here. Or 4 for face, my bad. Extrude again. Sure, just want those things there to play with. And already I'm seeing something that might be a problem. Let's select here, connect them. I want to keep my clean topology, so I'm going to drag this down to where it'll meet that one. Then delete these faces here. 4 for faces. Delete, and then there's going to be a face on this side too. I'll go out of X-ray mode to make it easier to see. Face right there, and that's the one I just deleted. So delete those, and then when we go into our perfectly solid view here, then X-ray mode, we can grab those vertices, move them over till they're pretty much on top here. Grab them all, so it'll grab all 4 of those, and then weld. Bump up that value until they weld, but if you bump it up too much, they'll all weld and then it'll meet in the middle, and you don't want that. So something simple like that, where it welds them. So now that's one vertice, which you can see right here. Vertex number 38 is selected. Same with this, whereas if you grab 2 of them, it'll say 2 vertices selected. We don't want this face at all, the one in the middle here, not that one. There's another one back there. There we go. I'll again turn off the symmetry, and you can see it right there. So delete, and that pretty much covers that. Go out of X-ray, and it looks like we've got our base shape the way we need it. Turn back on symmetry, and something simple like that. Go back to faces. Come on. I should have just left that face selected actually, but we're good. Alright, so extrude. Oops, I'm going to hit the button next to extrude. That's fine. There we go. Hit 1 for vertice. Move that on over till it's where we want it. I'm paying attention to this bottom one right now. Then we'll grab the top one. And this entire time I'm staying in orthographic mode in the perfect side view, because I want every time that I grab this one or this one or this one or any of them, I want to grab the ones that are behind them too. So if I grab this guy here, it'll also grab him. If I grab this guy, it'll grab him. And just so on, grabbing all the ones that I need this entire time, just because I'm in this side view here. And that's pretty much how I would get the base shape of this vehicle. From there, you can add in extra detail. So looks like this comes out to meet there, so I'm immediately going to go delete this face because I don't want a face in the middle of my control. There we go. We're going to extrude outward, lower that value a little bit. Cool. And then again, every time we do an extrusion, it's going to give us extra faces that we don't want, so just delete those. And there we go. Go to the side view and move that until it's right. So grab them, drag them down to there. Now grab all of them, look at it from a different angle so you can see all of it. And then when you go to weld, just make sure that it does. It won't actually, because I didn't delete the face in there. There's a face right in here that I don't want. Right there. Now if I delete it, go to 1 per vertices, got them all selected, and I hit weld. Now it welds them. So if I just to make sure, I'll grab both of them, look over here, it says 2 vertices, so we know that there aren't 4, whereas if we had 4, it would say 4. That's how I always check. So like if I just Control Z back to the point where we had all of them, right now there are 4 vertices there, and you can tell because it says it. Do a weld, and now it says 2. Very easy way to check. And then just keep making this vehicle the way that it needs to be made. Just matching the shapes up. Pretty simple shape here. Just trying to get it as perfect as I can. And that's pretty much it for the yellow parts. Now for something like those lights, that'd be pretty easy, but it's a smaller part, so I recommend doing it later down the line. Work from biggest to smallest, but all I would do for something like that, just to kind of show you, is drop in a cube, make sure it matches, and then, well again, just make sure it matches. So something like, oh my goodness, there we go. That's all you need. That, and then you could duplicate it over, and then make sure that it looks right on the back of this. So definitely the wrong proportions for that, but it's not looking too bad as a whole. So we're gonna hide that. Make sure this is right in this way. And I would say that on this vehicle, the top is definitely narrower than the bottom. So we're just going to grab these guys here, drag them over, and if I have this on, you can see as I drag this one over, it'll drag that side over too. And then even though we have a box, we do still have to move it a little bit in 3D. There we go, something like that. Get out of X-ray, and there we have it. Pretty simple. I don't like that doing what it's doing, so we can just Control Z a little bit here until they're all flat on that side, because it's supposed to be pretty flat. That's okay for now. Something pretty boxy like this is what you want to start with. It's gonna be boxy like this. And then let's say those need to come out. Pretty easy. Don't use the same object, because you're just gonna goof it up the more you add. And that's not just something, you know, to be a jerk. Like, everybody's gonna just mess it up if they make it too complicated. So drop in a new thing. Scale that one down to where I need it. I want it to be about that size so that it fits on this leg piece here, it looks like. So just gonna do something like that. Scale her up. And then edit mode again with editable poly. Oh, there we go. grab it like that, connect. I want 2 connections. Again, to get this pop-up menu, you hit the button next to whatever button you're getting. So I wanted connect settings, I'd hit that. Alright, move that over. And this one's not actually perfect, so I'm just going to go into X-ray mode, move him over. And this one, I could move a little bit like that. And both of them move up a little bit. Cool. Now, this one here can go this way a little bit because that's a slanted line. Same here. I know this is out a little bit, but I don't care right now. Not for something like that. It's not a huge detail in a vehicle like this. If you get the shape down, it will look right. Alright, gonna grab him and him at the same time. And just use the extrude tool. Awesome. Grab that, drag it up. And for something like this, you might be able to use symmetry, just cutting it here and then duplicating from here to here. But I don't think it's exactly perfect, so I'm just going to do each one myself. Something like that. And then go back to faces. Extrude again. I'm just going to hit the extrude settings, because that'll pop it up a little bit, and then you can edit it from there. Go to vertice again. Move those over. For face. Go to face. And then extrude again. Oh, that face, and then okay. Vertices, move it over. Face, extrude it, and that's way too much. But at least we got something to work with. One for vertice, move it, and drag it down. I probably just should have done it like this from the start, but I did not do it like that. Flatten out that line here. Before it was too crooked, now it's flat. And you can tell that this part is fatter than this part, and I don't want it to be, so I'm just going to grab those guys. Oops. Control-Z that. Grab all these guys and drag them in. Straighten that up a little bit. And then this guy actually should come in a little bit. There we go. Now if you look at that out of edit mode, out of X-ray mode, looks pretty much right. Obviously it needs to go in a lot. But that's generally how I would get that shape. Then you would just repeat that across here. I don't want to do this whole vehicle. Obviously that's not the point. This isn't for you to follow a tutorial or anything. Just how to block out your basic shape. And that is definitely how I would go ahead and do it. This is like, if I hit 7 on the keyboard, this is 264 polys in my scene for this base shape. That is insane. That's very small. So yeah, that's how I would do that. And that's basically the whole shape. Just follow that up like that. Then we'll need a tire for the back. And we can figure out mirrors and windows and whatnot later. It's not the point. This will take enough time as it is already. Let me go ahead and do a tire. So this is going to be the hardest part. This is just what you'll do at the end. And let's see, tire, tread. So you'll need to find tread that's as similar to the tread in your reference image, which I know you sent me, but I'm not even going to look at it right now because it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean. You need to find something that looks like tire tread, just like this, but for your specific tire. Let's find one that's easier to do. It's not horribly hard. Let's download that one. Just gonna name it tread. Close his YouTube channel. Alright, so properties, details, and we've got our dimensions there, 250, 250. So just gonna drop in a new plane, and change its dimensions to 250 by 250. Awesome. Very simple. Now let's go into perspective so it's easier for me to see. And then just drag that image on there. I said drag that image on there. Please, material, for M for material. There it goes. Alright. Drag that up in there. Drag that onto our object. Cool. Don't know why it needed that, but it did. Now, very simple. We're just going to drop a plane on here. Cool. Bring it up. Go to top view. Change this to orthographic so you're seeing it perfectly from top with no distortion. And Alt-X for X-ray. You can get away with not using X-ray a lot of the time, but this time you cannot. Now, I would probably get rid of these segments because I don't like pre-made segments. I like to make my own. And then I don't want to see this thing's segments. So I'm actually going to turn off edge faces, which is not usually what I do. But in this case it works because we're going to have this one selected and an editable poly, so it'll be able to see its edge faces anyway. I could also just remove the faces from the other one like I just did to this one, but that's fine. So we're going to connect once. And the reason I only connect once at first is because I'm going to duplicate this over. This is a perfect mirror. So just like with the vehicle, we're going to do a symmetry modifier. And we're going to accept a flip on that. So now, just like the other one, but I'll go over it one more time. If you hit this beaker here, it'll show all your modifiers on the object in real time. And symmetry modifier is no different. It'll show it in real time and show you what you're doing. So if I cut here, it'll put a cut here. And that's good. So, to start out with, we're just going to do one there. And one here. And I need another one in between here. And I'm just currently matching them up with the edge of the treads. We'll need two more. And scale them out a little bit. Bring them over a little bit. Scale them out a little bit more. Close enough. Cool. Now this is the exact same pattern over and over and over, so we don't need a lot of it. In fact, I'm just going to come down to, you can see in the image that this, it's hard to explain what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at this crescent here that's drawn through the whole thing. So like there's one block here, and one block here, and they all make this crescent shape. And that is just repeated like a ladder all the way down. So I'm going to come down to the first one that's perfectly not cut off by the image, like this one is. So this is the first one that's not. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to grab this and come up a little bit to this second one here. And you need the full second one to be in the image. And that should be, ooh, let's see if we can get it as close to perfect as we can. Let's just grab two of these solid ones, and then we'll be able to shove that on top of that. Ooh, also hard. Like that. I'm pretty sure that's what we need. Okay. So now do the same kind of a thing, but in this direction. We're going to cut and scale a little bit. Bring it up like that. Scale a little bit more. And then the same kind of a thing once more. Right there. Actually, it was almost perfect already. And that's all we need for these guys. They're done. This guy, if I were to drag these up here, he'd be set. If I were to drag one of these up here, that would be set. So that means I need one more of these. So I'm just going to put it on this side and connect it once. And I don't want it to be that weird. So I'm just going to match it up already. Before I even click OK, I'm just going to put it where I know I need it, which is just on this vertex. Everywhere else it'll have to move, but that's fine for now. So we know that we have those two there to cut that up. We have these two here to cut this up, and that's enough for this area. And then for this area, we also should have enough. 2 and 2, awesome. So I'm going to just start lining up these vertices. Grab these ones, move them over. Grab these ones, move them over. And this is not going to be perfect. It's also not going to be very big. So do what you can to make this better, but don't waste hours on this. Obviously, it'll take you a while to fix the first time. It'll take you a while to set it up. But after that, you don't want to be wasting time. Let's see. That's not going to want to be... That's not going to be fun at all, actually. Let's see. So this one's going to come up here. That one's going to come up here. And they're already set up so oddly. Okay. Let's just match it. See what happens. Just a lot of busy work. This whole career goal, I guess. Alright, drag that guy up. And guess I shouldn't have added in so many if I was going to use the bottom anyway. But it's fine. And I'm going to need this guy to come this way, because I'm going to make this one go that way. And these guys aren't aligned either. And this is just testing stuff out, experimenting a little bit. This is only the third time I've done tires. I did one for this project, and then I did one last night for fun. So lots of just experimenting to get it right. Let's make this go up and out of here. And because it is being used, okay. Guess it doesn't really matter. Just, I'll leave it there. Doesn't matter. Gotta move this one up though. Actually, I'm not gonna leave this one up. So you see how there's a gap here? I don't want to leave that gap on this side too. So I'm going to put that there. There's no gap here, and there's no gap here. So that means I'm going to make a gap. Ooh, I can't see the gap up here, so I've got to make it down here. And then same here. Oh, okay. So there is a gap, so I don't have a gap. And then this one's just wonky. So kind of a gap, kind of not a gap. I'm not sure. That one's a little weird. It's hard to do there because there's nothing to connect to afterwards. But now, finally, if I grab this object and I duplicate him over, it should hopefully... It does not at all match up. Fun stuff. So, delete. So this is one of the harder things, is if it doesn't match up the first time, you're just wasting time at that point. So I'm going to basically redo this, which I know it's hard to do, but you do have to do it. It's just a part of the job. Like, you just redo stuff all the time. So there you go. Alt-X for X-ray again. Go back into editable poly. And I'm just going to drag it up a little bit. cut it once down the middle so we can symmetry. Oh, delete. And then symmetry. And then turn on flip, and there we go. I'm gonna turn that on. Okay, so I think I figured out what I was doing wrong, and it's a pretty simple fix. I'm only gonna do one of these. So I'll choose that one because it matched up almost perfectly anyway. And then you, it becomes a lot easier on you when you just do the one. So there, and then this will make a lot more sense now. But I think it's good for everybody to see that everybody makes mistakes. So I'm not even gonna like cut that out or anything. It's good to see like the thought process behind a lot of the things that we do, and that you need to see this whole situation play out, and that like sometimes you just give up and redo it, and that's fine. You're gonna come out with something better, because after you've done it once, you're going to do it better the second time. And that's the case for the 52nd time as well. And go into edge mode or vertice mode so I can see that one, and then we're just gonna bring it down to like there-ish. And I don't like that that goes back up, but it does. So another connect. I'm just gonna try and keep those lines fairly straight, but more or less just worry about where the points are that I need to hit. Okay, now we need, this is really hard because they level them differently, but I think that there should be alright to duplicate now. So let me just test it once, and that's lining up pretty well. So I'm just going to grab both these guys, and actually I'm going to grab one of them. And there might be a better way to do this that I don't know about, but for now we need to apply that symmetry, so I'm going to convert it to an editable poly a second time. And now each point is editable on its own, and symmetry is no longer a thing. It's been overwritten. And there we go. Now, instead of that though, we should, let's see, I'm going to turn on edge faces again, so grab this guy, turn off his edges so that I can grab this one or any of them, and change back to edge faces. Much easier to handle. And I actually need this one's symmetry to be off too, so convert to editable poly. Cool. Now we're going to apply a boolean, and we don't want a normal boolean, we want pro boolean, wherever that is. Oh no, boolean is in here, isn't it? It's the dumbest thing Max has ever done. Compound objects shouldn't be like this, it should be a modifier. Pro boolean, and we are going to use, instead of subtraction, we're going to merge, and then pick them. We want that one, and now they're part of the same object. Go back to here, and then just convert to editable poly, and now the boolean is overwritten just like we did to the symmetry. So this is all just one object. Now you need to control Z because I forgot a massive step. So once you're here, we need to grab all these faces and actually get rid of this guy. Again, I'm just gonna keep all this here so that I can show the process of even I have to relearn some of this stuff sometimes. So that edge here is wrong. That's bad, because it means that symmetry was pretty much useless, so delete that. And there we go. Now grab edges again, hold shift, and you can extrude just by doing that fairly easily. Fun stuff. That's pretty much it. If I were to drag this here, that would match with that almost perfectly. Except for here for some reason. Alright, let's try it one more time. And I'm just doing this as a reference, so if it fits well enough, that's good. I need it to go higher for some reason. Are you too low? And are you too low? Something like that, I suppose. Alright, now that matches up really well. So, Control-Z to where it was. Go to 4 for faces, and just grab the faces that need to come upwards. Now, the fun stuff, the stuff that we already know, extrude. Done. Cool, so top down again. Let's find it. Oh, it rotated us. There we go. Now we can select this object, hold shift to duplicate it, and there we go. That's what we needed. Something like that. Now instead of doing it that way, I'm going to go to the array modifier, which isn't even a modifier. I don't know how Max does its arrays. There it is. Selection set is empty, so select it, then go to arrays, I believe. Cool. Now on the Y, it looks like. So, oops, gonna set that back to 0. And then let's see, 10 count. Total in array. Instance. Let's see, how do I change how many of them there are? 2D? I want 5 of them. I don't know, I'm just experimenting a little bit. Move them on the Y by 1. What about by 10? What about, okay. Oh, okay. So it moves them not in real time. That's really brilliant of whoever made 3ds Max. Thank you, Autodesk, for the best software imaginable. Let's see. So I don't think I need incremental row offset. I really wish you could see this as it was moving. If I click OK, how many of them are there? A bunch. Cool. Yep. Alright, we're not going to do that then. We're just going to shift and duplicate them the smart way. If you know how to use the array modifier better than I do, then definitely feel free to use that. It's the smarter way to do this if the array modifier didn't suck. And now you've got your tire tracks and you need to combine these. So what I generally do, there might be a easier way to do it, but like I was showing you before, it's not a modifier. Again, Max did something dumb there. Go to compound objects, pro boolean, and then merge instead of subtraction. So you've seen how booleans work. You were taught in 100 it will subtract one object from another and cut a hole in it, whereas merge will combine them. So then we start picking, which is there, and just combine all these guys into one. And now you can right click and editable poly, and they should, yep, all be their own. And I'm going to go into X-ray mode, grab every single vertice. Then if you go to the weld tools, you can adjust how much is getting rid of each of the vertices. And if I drag it up, bad stuff happens. If I leave it down, I don't know what's going on there at all, actually. It's really weird, actually. Let's Control Z until we're still in Boolean right now. Alright, so maybe they just need to move a little bit more. Let's just, to be safe, make sure that none of them are connected. So like moving them just slightly out of the way of each other. Oops, it was Alt I meant to click there. Just get them out of each other's way. There. Now if I go into whichever one, hit start merging like that, and then editable poly. Now they should be alright. Yep. So if I grab these guys, I want to merge at the second one, so target weld. Boom. 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 And just keep doing this whole way. And it would be better if you used array so that they were equally distanced, but I didn't do that because I don't know how to use the array tool in this. It does the same thing, just duplicates them. Alright, so then we're going to go make this a pro boolean again. We're going to merge and start picking. Boom, boom, boom. Convert to editable poly, and it just goes on like this for a while. Target weld again. All to get this to be a perfect line. Alright, now this is a lot smaller than the one that you would use. Generally, you would have one that would go on for like probably to here-ish, maybe longer, maybe shorter, depending. But from there, it's pretty simple. You just jump into the bend modifier and bump. Let's see, is it the direction? Is it the angle? We're going to want to bend over the X, and I don't want to limit. Let's see, why is this not working? Let's just convert it to an editable poly again, and then do a bend on it. There we go. That's definitely not the right direction. It's got to be an X. Oh, maybe Y. Okay, that's pretty close, but not quite. Is it direction? No. it is going to be in Y up until, oh boy, let's see, like that, and then there's something you're supposed to do. I don't remember. Let's see. Does it rotate it? No, because it's the same thing. X doesn't do it. And I doubt Z will do it. Yep. It's Y. Oops. There we go. Then is it a second bend that we do? That's funny though, but let's see. Let's see how this guy does it. Oops. Alright. He seems to be doing about the same kind of a thing. Alright, so he's unwrapping it. Okay, yeah, so he did rotate it, which is what I did. But his rotation worked. That's very odd. Oops. Let's delete that one. Oh, maybe I needed to delete that one. Okay, whatever. Just was it effect pivot only that he had on? No. But that rotation affects the whole thing. Is it this that he did? There we go. Awesome. And our angle snap should be on. So where am I seeing the rotation? Oh, it's down at the bottom of the screen, 90. Cool. So that's basically it. Hit P for perspective. And that's a garbage tire. Like I said, you'll add extra edges. Like you'll basically make this line like double the length it is. But then just so you get it again, I'll redo it from here. Oh, redo it from here. So we've got this whole long bit that we made with editable poly and just duplicating it down. Could have done an array to make it faster, but I don't know how to do that. And then we just go to a bend. We bump up this until, oops, we go to, in my case it's Y, in your case it might be X, but it should never be Z as long as you make it flat like mine. And keep going until it's just about there. And then at some point we'll connect those like we just did. You might want to do it now, you might want to do it later, doesn't really matter to me. And then you jump to bend, hit that arrow, hit gizmo under bend, and then you can rotate it. And keep an eye on the bottom of your screen right there. It said 90 just a moment ago. Keep your eye there while I rotate it. You can see it moves as I do, and you want it to say 90. That's when you do a 90-degree rotation, and that's how you get the base of your tire. And then from here you can extrude downward to get the rest of your tire, but that's pretty much it. You'll put those tires on a very simple vehicle outline, and that's how you get the base done. The rest is details, which is still hard, but that's what specific questions can be about. So ask me if you have any more questions. That's pretty much it. Feel free to just keep watching this till you get it. Let's do car tutorial in case I need to pull it up again to do any other tutoring. Cool. Peace.